Okay, so can we start? Okay, so let's go. Okay, so first of all, presentation.
My turn. So Eusebio here. I'm working at One X Internet. I'm living in Cádiz. I've been working like 4 years now in software industry. And yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, and me, that's me. I'm Fran Seva. Yeah, I work also for One X Internet since 3 years ago. I'm Drupal, React, Nextjs developer at One X Internet, and I started really long time ago with Drupal 5, I think so. I don't remember, but yeah.
So we are a digital agency building software solutions based on Drupal and many different technologies. And we are located in Frankfurt, Berlin, Konil, and Reykjavik. So yeah, here are the links if you want to visit or find some more information about us. But yeah, so Fran is going to explain a little bit the back side of the project. So
yeah, now I'm going to continue a long time. Okay, so yeah, we're going to divide the session into part. Okay, we're going to talk first about the backend, and then we're going to jump to the front-end side. So in the backend side, we're going to talk a bit about GraphQL, what it is. I'm going to show you. My part is going to be a bit hard, but I'm going to show code. Okay, I want you to see how we do it. Okay, I don't like to speak too much. And then once we know what's GraphQL, I'm going to show you how to map Drupal entities and expose them using GraphQL. Okay, GraphQL version 4. And then I'm going to talk a bit about persistence query, okay, because it's really interesting. Okay, and in front-end side, we will talk about Net design system, how we fetch the data from GraphQL server, and then how we display the Nextjs components using design systems. Okay, so first of all, before the start, I would like to provide to you a bit of context, okay, because this project goes around a Unity, because the client that the one they asked us to implement to migrate the current blog site they have from WordPress to Drupal 9. Okay, so the idea is they are going to manage the content using Drupal 9. Okay, so this is in the backend side. And in the frontend side, we're going to have a Nextjs. Okay, we are going to manage the front end, all the content, will display the user the information, and then we're going to also to use Storybook and Tailwinds to implement the design system. Storybook to group the components, and Tailwinds CSS as a CSS framework. Okay, so also I would like to tell you that the idea of Unity is it's a really big company, so they really want to reuse everything we implement here, and they want to reuse not only the code, they want to reuse the knowledge, the data, the we expose, and the components. So this is the key part of this project, because you don't want to forget that we're talking about Decouple Drupal, but in Unity context, this project, okay? So yeah, so last thing I would like to know about the content is that this project need to be really easy from the editor side, per point of view. So they need to be able to edit, create, and work with the data and information. So for that reason, we base the content, the blog post on paragraph, and that's going to be exposed in Drupal. I'm telling that because it's the hard part we found in this project, okay? So you will see.
So to give a bit more of context, I don't know if you guys know Unity. I think it's pretty common. The main product is a game engine, but we are taking care of the website and the blog side. So we are using all of these technologies there. They have a lot of a huge tech company, but yeah, we are taking care of this.
Okay, so GraphQL. Okay, so what's GraphQL? GraphQL is a query language, okay, that allows us to request to ask for data. Also, it provides a server-side running. So yeah, so we can really easy because we can really easy request the data because they have a really pretty simple syntax. They basically have fields on objects and we request. And I would like to remark that we can ask only what we need. And this is good because we're going to have only what we want to show, avoiding in the front-end side to pre-process the response. So, you know, you get the data and you need to, to filter, you need to, I don't want that, skip things, and then pass to the component all the information. So we really can get what we want. Similar to what happened with JSON API, where you can filter and you can tell what you want, okay? So the syntax is really, really easy. So now I'm going to show you how it looks, okay? As I said, you can ask me if you have a question and you see I go to the next slide because it's going to be really hard. After the session, we can talk, whatever, in another room or whatever you want. So here is an example, okay, where, let me show you, I'm using GraphQL Explorer in Drupal. Okay, so you can see how the syntax is, okay? I will explain in detail how we get these fields exposed here, okay, later. But now I just want to show you how we ask, okay? This case, we're asking, what else? The title, where are you? A preview title, preview text. Okay, oh, we don't have this content. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, my bad. I need to get the content first, sorry. Well. This is a real code, okay? This is 2586. 25. So we can pass attribute and property to the blog post. 2586. So we're going to get, oh, sorry, what's the content ID? Blog post, I'm going to edit it. I'm going to copy, okay? Works better. So yeah, we got it. So as you can see, yeah, okay, we request the, we can also request, we have text, okay, this is paragraph, we're going to get the text from a paragraph, so we got the paragraph. Also, this is the paragraphs that are attached to the blog post, okay, so you can see the syntax, basically, we're requesting fields on an object, and here we're, telling, okay, we also want this type, this related entity attached to the content, and I want the ID and the text. And you only can ask, you only want the text, you can only request the text, avoiding all the things, okay? So it's pretty simple, but it works, okay? All good. So going back to the slides. What next? Now, this, I know it's really bad slide, okay? I'm not good doing that, but I would like here to explain to all of you how to get entities in Drupal exposed on GraphQL, okay? So there are a lot of things. First of all, I would like to tell you that we're using GraphQL version 4. Drupal cannot automatically generate the field values that's going to be exposed, okay? We cannot. At the moment we started with the project, it was impossible. There was no data feature. In GraphQL version 3, yes, we could automatically export the data from Drupal automatically in GraphQL. But now you can see that Jesus Manuel Oliva, I think is the surname, he publishes a video in March, maybe this year, with a first version where he was starting to get this working. And this is really good. At the moment, we had to implement the project, from scratch, okay? So what do we need to do? I'm going to follow the steps that I need to do to get content exposed directly, okay? I cannot go deep as I would like, because we could be here 3 hours talking and showing code, but I want you to get the key part of the process, okay? So let's start. First of all, we need to create a paragraph file, GraphQL's file, okay? How do we do that? Basically, how we do it is, okay, we go to the content, okay, definition, we get the fields, you can see here, an example, preview text, preview title, all the things we want to expose, okay? We don't need to expose everything, but how do we do it? One second. So we need to create a, sorry, let me open a bit. So we need to create, first of all, Unity blog here, the GraphQL's file. What do we do here? Sorry. Here we basically are defining the type blog post, okay, in GraphQL, and we say, okay, I want the title. The title, I'm going to use this GraphQL field to expose the no entity field. I'm going to send the URL. I want the UUID, the image, the created the preview text we saw before, and we need to define the type they have. It's really simple. We have integer, string, all Boolean, too, all those things, and you also can define types you are going to return. Okay, at this field, you can see here the image. For image, we're going to return, yeah, something like this, an object like this, okay? The question mark character represent that's never going to be null, so we're going to have always a value there. And the array means that we're going to get more than one item to an array, so it's going to be an object, an array of objects, okay? So now we went to the entity definitions fields. We see what we want to expose. We define the type on GraphQL, and now next what will be, okay, how do we get the information from Drupal? We get it when the user asks for those fields. We need to provide that information. How do we do that? To do that, we need to implement a class. Okay, where are you? Here it is in the source. Sorry. No, not here. Sorry. Where are you? It's really weird from this perspective. Yeah, in schema. Sorry. So here, 1 second. So this is the class we need to create. We have to extend from the basic one that GraphQL provides, the schema. Okay, so we need to implement one method. Okay, we need to implement getResolve registry. So here we need to say, okay, I want this content type to be matched by this entity matched by this GraphQL type, and I want this field to be retrieve the information from Drupal. We need to add the field resolve. Okay, that's the name. From Drupal, okay, and we need to do it manually for every field we have in the GraphQL definition, okay, of blog post. How do we do that? So yeah, I'm going to focus on the blog post fields first. So how do we do that? Here you can see we have a lot of things. I'm not going to go in detail on all of them, but I'm going to show you the easier and the harder, okay? Nothing in the middle. Let me drink a bit of water. Okay, so let's go. So here we're getting the UUID, okay? So GraphQL by default, the Drupal integration, it provides some data producers that I'm going to show you. It's here, I have it here. So they provide data producers, so we can use them to retrieve directly the information from Drupal. So we can load entities, and then we can get the value for those entities we're loading from using the data producer, and so on. We have all the entity ID, okay, and so on. So that's what we're doing here. We have a producer for entity UUID. Yeah, we're getting the information from the entity. We got the parent is the main entity always, okay? So that's really easy. The title, we have entity label data producer. It's on documentation. So you can use it and get directly the title, okay? And let me go something more hard, isn't it? Consumption time, this is a field. Okay, we have property path when we go to a content field, and we say, okay, I get the entity node, and I want to get the entity, and I want to get the value field type entity. Okay, because yeah, this is the consumption times here. And then you can see also here that we have an entity context translation. This is the way we are translating, we are getting the translations of the entity, and we are returning it. Okay, I will go further next. What else? What else? Images, this is hard. Okay, so we're getting the node, Okay, we're getting the field from the entity and then translating it, and then we're getting the entity, the translated entity. Then we're getting the media entity that is referenced for that is being referenced to. We're going 2 levels deep. Okay, so then we get the entity, and we get the field from the entity, and we get the first item. This is the way we need to follow for all the fields. Okay, do you get it? So what else? I don't know. Boolean, imagen derivative, the same. The other one, this is a different producer, data producer. This is custom. We implemented because GraphQL have a bug, not a bug. They don't provide what we need to be exposed on Nextjs when we use next image component. It's something we will see later. Okay, so on. We can get all. We have to get all the data this way. Okay, so you can see here. Sorry. Also, you saw here that we also have the entity, the add query fields. Okay, so this is another function, and we are getting fields for a query. As you saw in the Drupal Explorer, when I was requesting data using the user interface, you saw that I use a function, a query, name it, blog post, and I pass an ID. This is how we are loading. Okay, we also need to, we also define it in the schema in the GraphQL file. We define a query name blog post where we are passing an ID and a language, and we need also to resolve, and we need to tell here how to do that. So we are telling, okay, we're loading the entity based on it is a node, and bundle is blog post, and we are passing an argument, the ID. That's the one we are passing when we are requesting. And this is how we do it. So when we do this, we are loading, we are requesting the node, and then we are returning what we define, what I explained before in the blog post fields, okay, and in the resolver, okay. Now it should be enough, but no. Drupal doesn't know how we match the query, the GraphQL definition with the Drupal entity. Because they know that how resolve fields, they know a GraphQL type, but they don't know how to match, how Drupal match that. So we do it here in blog post file at the end. Okay, here, where are you? Here, here is the magic. We invoke this hook. Okay, we create it because we want other modules to provide definition, to provide resolvers. So we are asking other modules, hey, do you have resolve for node interface? Is the blog type, the blog post type is implementing a node interface. So we're asking to provide more. So this means that it can be extended, okay? And then here we are getting, and we are saying, okay, this, blah, 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 what are you here? So we're telling, okay, you can resolve type. So this type, we are setting how we're going to resolve it. Where do we invoke this hook in the module? Okay, in this case, we are invoking here. We are telling, okay, when the hook asks for node interface, I want the blog post entity to be the blog post GraphQL structure or type match with blog post. So here is where we are telling, okay, this is the match. So now we know we have the GraphQL, we have how we get the resolve to get data, and now here we are telling, okay, this is how they match. And we need to do the same for all the entities we have. Okay, I'm going to show you. Now this is the easy. This is how we proceed for easy, where are you? For easy, simple fields, title, UJD, but how do we do it with reference field that are reference paragraph and we need to get the entity from there. So yeah, we need to follow the same, but we need a better structure of code. Okay, so I'm going to show you. Okay, so now the same, we need to create, okay, we need to create, where are you? Unity, blog post, I was opening. So now we defined the basic blog post type in GraphQL. Now we want to add a new field, but maybe another module wants to add a new reference fields. So how are we going to do it? We're going to extend the GraphQL schema. So Unity blog post in GraphQL here, we are telling, hey, I want to extend blog post and I want a new field that's going to be exposed named dex, and we are going to display an array of paragraph items, implementing the paragraph interface, okay? So now we need to think how we're going to implement all those paragraphs, and they are going to be exposed here, okay? So here is the paragraph interface, really easy, just an ID, okay? And then each module, in this case, is going to create the paragraph with the fields that they need. It's going to be extensible, okay? What we want here is that when if the client say, hey, now I want a new paragraph, okay, I will create a new module, I will enable, will be there. If you don't want it, disable. If other project needs this module, well, you can use it and will be there automatically. You don't need to do anything else. We want things reusable. We are decoupling also the modules, okay? We can do in one file if you want, but this is going to be spaghetti code from my point of view. Here it works good. So now we have a way we are exposing the deck, but now we need to expose the paragraph entities the same way we expose the blog post entity. How do we do that? Easy. We need to follow the same rules. GraphQL's field, schema class, and the hook. And we get it. Let me show you an example. Paragraph text, really easy, always the same. Text deck, implement paragraph interface. We have an ID and a text. Now we need to implement the class. How do we do it? Here in the same module. As you can see, we don't have configuration in the module. We only have GraphQL's definitions. Okay. So here we are telling, okay, I want to expose the paragraph text deck ID, and we get it from the entity and the text field from GraphQL schema. We're going to get the entity paragraph, and we're going to get the field test and the processed value. Okay, so we're going to get HTML, and then in the next year we have to handle that. Okay, so now we have that, but how do we connect the same problem we have again before? We need to go blah 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 blah. Here we create a module here where we are doing pretty the same. We are saying, okay, you can we create, we extend this class, calling it Unity, because we are reusing this for all more fields. Okay, so we need to add a wrapper to be able to translate, because there is a bug with GraphQL and translation when we have catch enabled. But this is another problem. We're not going to talk here. Okay, it's too much. So basically here we're saying, okay, every time a module implement this hook, I'm going to ask for those who have a paragraph to be exposed. And boom, we invoke the hook, we get all of them, and the same, we resolve it. Okay. In the module, in the paragraph, where are you? Paragraph text. Vale, we lento. I need to go faster, sorry. This is the problem with this type, but yeah. Here, so module here is where in the hook, we are matching everything, okay? So it's the same, but we have more abstraction level there, okay? So now we have exposed the data. Okay, so problems. I want you to, you can learn how to do that reading documentation, but what I want to share here is the problem we found. We have problem when we translate contents. When we expose translated content in GraphQL. Okay, there is a reported bug of GraphQL. We provide a solution. Okay, Risto did it. He worked with us. He's a really good developer. Now we need to patch the module with this fix. If not, it's not going to be able to get translated now when we have catch enabled. So we also need to provide the content language because automatically it's not being exposed, and we need it to be able to know what entity we want to get and be exposed. Okay, so we need to do that, and we need to create custom resolvers to get translation and to get image with height and the source. Because Nextjs image component, when you're using, for example, the mode for responsive, you need to know in advance the width and height. And GraphQL, it is not providing that, it's only providing the source. So we need to create a custom resolver, a custom data producer to retrieve the information from Drupal, okay? So, yeah. Last thing in the backend side, the persistence queries. It's a feature that GraphQL provides, and it's really awesome. In this case, really awesome. Basically, we are registering the queries in the server side in a way the client doesn't know to send a query. Only needs to send an ID, and the server will say, okay, I know this is it. This is the query we want to request to get information. Boom, you get it. Okay, and this works not in all cases. In our case, we have the backend and the frontend. They both belong to the same owner, to Unity and Editor. So the backend side knows exactly what to send to the frontend side. So we know in advance the query, so we can register it, and then they only need to provide the ID. In example, GitHub, they have all the common information exposed. They cannot do that because they cannot imagine all the queries that user from GitHub is going to request. So they need to have an open, they need to allow arbitrary requests, arbitrary queries. So this is something. And to implement is really easy. We need to implement I'm not going to show you because we are running late, but we only need to implement a class and define the query, and that's all, and return. Okay, if you want to see how it is, let's stay after the session, I will show you, okay? So now it's time for my colleague, sorry.
All right, so let's have a look at the front end part of the project. So first thing, what is a design system? I don't know if you guys know what a design system is, if you have ever worked with it sometimes. Nothing? Okay. So it is a collection of common reusable UI components, and this means that within an organization or a company, when you have many different sites, or like in this case in Unity, we have the blog site, we have the main website, and many different sites, and we are sharing the components. We need a solution to have a collection of reusable UI components. So we are going to have a look first to the different sites that Unity have. We're going to show two of them. We have something wrong there. Okay, so anyway, if you scroll down, you see all the cards, all the things, and then if you go to the blocks. Yeah, but in the end, the idea is that we are sharing components and style across the whole company, and this happens also with GitHub. This happens also with a lot of tech companies. So we need a design system, and we're going to show the one that we are using on Unity. A lot of that there. Yeah, that one. Yeah, this one. So basically, it's a repository of components where you have the single source of truth, and then you can use them in every project. So yeah, for example, this is. I have it here. Yeah, this is a card. Okay, back to the slide. It is a bridge between designers and developers because this is not new. You have collection of components on design side and also on many projects, but it's a common point between them because it is easier to communicate and to have like a single thing between designers and developers because these components has design things, but also has a functionality that is part of development. So it is like a standalone component. And another, like these are like the main things of a design system, or at least under our opinion, the most important ones for us. And also design tokens are the values that are like, these are design decisions mainly, values that are also located in one place, and then you use them in your component. And for example, you don't hard code a background color or a font size or whatever. You have like this variable, and then you use it. And if at some point the design team make a decision and say, oh, okay, we now want to change the color brand, and so they change, or we change it here, and it's changed on the whole design system, and consequently change it in all projects. So this is the design tokens that we have for Unity at this moment. Yeah, documentation. Also, and I know this is hard, sometimes it's hard to maintain and write documentation from our side, but it's like we can measure the success of a design system on how easy it is to implement or use those components. So documentation is important, and like on how to use or implement a component or as a dependency in another project. So, and this is a crucial thing. They are distributed via package manager. You can use whatever tool you want to use, Node Package Manager or whatever. And then it is like the design system is a standalone thing, and it's a dependency. Like every project has a dependency on the design system. So on blog site we have the dependency on this design system, then in the main website also, and so we are importing components and using them in the next pages. Yeah. How we add a design system as a dependency, and then we are importing a component into a page. Anyway, let's keep it. You just import it and use it. It's easy, like a React component, as always. No, it doesn't matter. Let's keep going with the presentation. And no, last thing, you can build it on like the tool that you prefer. We use React and Next, but you can use web components. You can use Vue, or you can use whatever. And also, there are another tools for build these standalone design systems, like Storybook. We are using this tool in our case. And yeah, this image defines the main stage of a design system, because in the end, it is all built in the design system. Like you build the component in the design system, you review it, you test it, everything, document, and then this is not, you don't need to do this on each component or each place. Is one single time. Again, it's one. All right. So Nextjs. It's a React framework, because React is a library in the end. So this is a framework that provides built-in features out of the box to build front applications. Also, it led you to build kind of a backend, but we are using it as a front side. And yeah, these are the main things that we are using from Nextjs. Yeah, it's production-ready features. So first one, pages and dynamic routes. We're going to show an example here, because it's better if we see on how we use it. So pages in the end are like React components that are export from a file that is inside of the predefined pages folder on Nextjs. So automatically it is indexed as a page, and you can find it like it's served with the same URL as the folder structure. So if you have like a folder that is called blog, and then inside you have a blog number 1. So if you set the URL blog-1, this page is served. So this one, oh, this is too small. Yeah, and dynamic routes is just this. Like if you put the title, the file name surrounded by brackets, it will turn like a dynamic route. So if you, in this case, write the ID on the URL, and in this case you are searching like the latest folder, it will be latest, and then dash, and then I don't know, ID 24. So it will render the page for that specific entity, and then you can access these variables within the page. So, okay, 5 minutes. Let's hurry up. Server-side rendering and that data fetching. I'm not going to stop in examples because we are running out of time. No, go back. Yeah. So we are used to render the pages usually on the client side, on the browser, but we are rendering it in the server side. So a user make a request to the Nextjs server, then Nextjs make the request to get the data. It renders the page on the server, and then it sends the render page to the user. So we save time, and we have a nice response times with this feature. I'm going to skip this one. It's incremental static generation. It's because we are rendering pages at request time, at runtime. But you also can build, can have static pages that are built at build time. So it will be faster, but because all that data is dynamic, we need to render at request time. So yeah, this is another feature, complex one, but yeah. Then layout, those components that are used in every page, you can place them inside a component that is called layout, and then you can wrap the pages with this component, and these elements that are used in all pages are inside this component. So in our case, we are including the header and the footer on the layout component, and then all pages that we have are inside this layout component. So the header and the footer will be always showing without the need of including it in the specific pages. Environment variables, I think everyone knows. We have like Next has a nice feature also that has a nice environment variables, and you can access them through the whole application. And we are doing this for build the GraphQL request, yeah, because it depends on if we are running the project in production mode or test or development. So yeah, next slide. Here's a nice diagram on how we do it, like the basic flow of Next GraphQL. And so, as I said previously, the client send a request to the server that is it's the Nextjs application. Then Next fetch the data through a query to the GraphQL API. Then it returns the data. The page is rendered here and sent to the user. This is the basic flow, and Fran has explained like all that goes here in the back inside. And okay, so this is another diagram on how we are like the architecture of the design system, the React component. So in the end, this is a standalone thing built on React and Tailwind. It contains all the React components. Then we import in the Nextjs application. We have the application, we have the pages, then the component is inside the pages. So we request the data, it goes to the page, and then to the component, render, and send to the user. So I think we ran out 1 minute. Okay, thank you.
Any question?
Yeah, I have a question. Like, did you consider using the GraphQL module, which kind of a little bit simplify? I mean, it does automatically mapping of the entities to the GraphQL, and why didn't did you go this route, like because you have more control over the structure, or?
We went because it was not available. We don't go to the previous version because it was a client request. So the client said we want GraphQL before, as far as I know. So we did it. So it was out, GraphQL 4. We had meeting. At the end, we decided to have 4. And yes, we are getting Drupal 9. GraphQL was updated. So we want to start. Now that we start a site, why don't we start using last version? It was hard because now it's playing really quick, but it was really hard to get how to do that and fix all the problems we had there. But yes, it's hard. But once you implement one full expose, then it's automatically, Anything else? Qué bien. That's it. No?